185milessouth.com.
Smash that Patreon button.
185 Miles South, a hardcore punk rock podcast.
You call them friends, I call them enemies.
What's up, everyone? This week on the pod, we are back and talking hardcore. Helping out, you know him, you love him. It is the best dressed man on the pod. It is Daniel Sant. What's up, Dan?
Sick of going sober, sick of starting over, sick of Black Flag, sick of Cro-Mags. I'm so fucking sick.
Dude.
I'm sick twice in a month.
I know you're sick. That's a bummer, dude. But don't get sick of Black Flag, dude. At least up through like 82. Come on. Actually, you know what? Half of 81. We'll give you half of 81 and back. So, hell yeah. Okay, everyone, let's dive right into it this week. I got a couple questions, and I don't want to do a whole question episode. We'll do that again at some point. But I just want to address these two because, well, the first one kind of fucking pickles me, and then the second one I thought was hilarious enough that it should be brought up. So, number one. Dan, do we consider ourselves music critics? Are you a music critic, dude?
I think we critically evaluate the stuff that we talk about. So, yeah, I mean, I'm not Jay Sherman. It doesn't stink. I think, yeah, we critically evaluate things, but we generally talk about the stuff that we end up liking more because we want to put positive stuff out into the world. If we were really truly critical, we would probably be talking about stuff that we don't care about as well. That kind of came across the radar, but we don't think what does that gain anyone besides maybe they would listen to that and then say, oh, that's a fair point. Maybe we'll try something different. But in the end, they're usually just going to be like, fuck these dudes.
Yeah. Honestly, like the idea of possibly being a music critic makes me want to quit this podcast like this second. I hate that idea. I hate it, dude, because that's not what it's about. And I mean, at least we like have kind of a body of work. Like I have 6 LPs that are out there and I think around 6 EPs. So like whatever I say, there's enough of like material that came from me that you guys can listen to and shit all over if you want. Right. So this isn't like, yeah, this is not me like, you know, throwing stones from a glass house where like I'm a dude that's never made music and I'm talking about other people's music sideways or nothing. But yeah, I hate the idea of being a music critic because like, dude, I'm one of those motherfuckers that like, if you gave me a bad review, I fucking remember. You know what I mean?
I know you are.
Yeah. Hey, there's bands. This is going to tie right into the next question too. But it's like, you know what I mean? Like Max Ward gave In Control a bad review in MRR, and he can still go fuck himself to this day. And like, there's that Matt Average dude. He was in Reagan SS. He gave us like a real weird sideways review in like Heart Attack once. It was like, oh, I thought In Control was going to be more thrashy like the Flower Leopards. It's like, what the fuck? That's like a death rock band, dude. If you're going to like toss something out there, like at least get your shit straight. So like, I mean, whatever. I thought Reagan SS was an okay band. I've always thought that dude was a nerd for that fucking, for that review. You know what I mean? And so like, it is what it is, right? I'm sure like Max and Matthew Average are a nice ass dudes, just like you and me, right? Like I'm sure that we say something in passing about some band and they're like, these motherfuckers. And like 20 years from now, they're going to be like, those bald bastards. I hope they fucking die. You know what I mean? So
well, Larry David's on our side, motherfuckers.
That's right. That's right. And Costanza. So what's up? Okay. Dude, I'm not a music critic. I'm just a dude that loves hardcore. And the stuff we talk about on here is all stuff that one of us likes and rides for because there's so much music that comes out every single month. I don't got time to shit on stuff. I don't have time to talk about stuff I don't like. So this isn't like a scenario of like I like everything. It's just we don't got the time for it. And go ahead and like No Echo does a great playlist of like everything that comes out. Take a peruse down that, dude, and tell me what percentage you like. I guarantee it's like 5%. Also, shout out to the Enterprise Hardcore account on Instagram. They're always posting like notable hardcore releases. There's a ton of shit there. I get that from those dudes, and also Bored is Life. Shout out. What's up? Shout out to Worship that pulls it all together. What, Dan?
We do critically listen, but we promote what we love in a nutshell.
Okay, Dan, next question. I LOL'd when I saw this, but is Spazz the NOFX of Powerviolence?
I would never tar anyone with that brush. So they're wriggling out of it for me, but they do have very comedic premises and song titles, record titles, Egg on the Hyrax cover, etc. That's Spazz, right?
That's Spazz, that song.
Yeah, that's always cracked me up. They definitely put fun first. They weren't, but I bet you, they had things to say as well, obviously. So I'm not going to tar them with the NOFX brush, but I know someone who will, because the drummer reviewed his band terribly in the 90s. I mean, in the late 90s, early 2000s.
Yeah, he did say we were overproduced, which is cool, because, dude, what's the La Revancha, whatever the third LP, I think, dude, that thing sounds so good. Or maybe that's their second LP. Anyway, whatever the fuck ever. Yes, I do believe Spazz is the NOFX of Powerviolence, and I'll break it down to you. I thought about this for about 5 minutes, and it tickled me the right way that I'll go in on it. If you think about like all the original Powerviolence bands, like Infest, Neanderthal, Crossed Out, No Comment, even Drop Dead, like there are no gaggy lyrics there. It's pretty serious, like just straightforward hardcore, and that's why it rules. Spazz, their first 7-inch comes out in 1993, and it's pretty serious business. Outside of like the dude on the cover that looks like he has like a 80-year-old's nutsack for a chin, like that's a little wonk. That's like the beginning of this shit, right? Their first LP in 94, they start dabbling like a little bit into the jokey shit, right? Like the Dwarf Jester Rising is like the album title. The Egg on a Hyrax cover is a song. They have a song called Dropping Many Ravers, obviously like a tie towards Madball. In 94, we should say also the Charles Bronson demo comes out, and they are jokey like this too, right? But they don't ever get the big production. And we should also say that in 95, Spazz does a split with Charles Bronson. So after that, the second Spazz LP, 1997, they have full-on NOFX song titles, like, and also the album, the production sounds so huge. I love how this thing sounds, like straight up, no beef, dude. This thing sounds great. So if you think about it, it's the Punk and Drublick of Powerviolence. Another album that sounds great. And by their third LP, like the song titles are fully like marshmallow off the stick. Okay, Dan, so we are going to do a little segment here. You're going to tell me, is this a NOFX song or a Spazz song? I'm going to read you the title. Okay, band member's name pooped at the skate park.
I'm going to say that's a Spazz song.
Correct. Cool and Unusual Punishment.
NOFX.
Damn, 2 for 2. The champ don't miss. Flossing a dead horse.
That's got to be NOFX.
Man, maybe I'm making a bad point here, huh? You're 3 for 3. Gary Monardo's Record Vault shirt.
That's got to be Spazz. That is so niche. That's got to be a Spazz song.
I'm a trans vest light.
Oh, God, that's got to be Fat Idiot Mike.
Dude, he don't miss. He's batting 1,000. Now 50% more pants shitting.
Either way, both bands should go to hell. That's Spazz.
Dude, the greatest batting average in the history of man, Daniel Sant. Slutta.
Slutta? like
slut
like you're
with an A on the
stuttering.
end.
But,
So
slut.
Sluta or Slutta? I'm assuming Slutta since all these song titles suck.
I'm gonna say that's Spazz.
Oh my god. 9 for 9. Okay, Dan, one more. Take 2 placebos and call me lame.
Oh, that's got to be Idiot Michael. NOFX.
Rotund Michael, Daniel Sant, 10 for 10. The champ don't miss. What do you fucking know? Okay, let's see what else we got here.
I was just going to say, I do think that the members of Spazz would be hellaciously offended at being called the NOFX of Powerviolence. But hey, the pod don't miss.
That's right. Well, you know, Chris Dodge did play in No Use for a Name, but before they were on Fat Records. So there is a pretty close tie in there. And I believe he may have worked at Fat. And I also believe that Fat did that like short music for short people. And that is a complete lifted idea from Chris Dodge's like that Bleerg comp, whatever that was.
Absolutely. Plus, the if you work at Fat Records, I think it's in your contract that you have to shit your pants.
That's right. Or at least have a song about it.
Pants shitting songs out there.
At least have a song about it. That's right. Okay, let's get into some new music. All right, first off, before we get in, I want to run off some shout outs here. And the first thing I want to shout out, new band called Disillusion out of Oxnard, California. Just put out their debut EP. It is on Spotify. And there is a playlist for every episode, people. So 185milessouth.com. Click that playlist link at the top of the page, and you can check out the music that we're talking about. Also, you can just find us on Spotify. I'll put all these shout out songs at the bottom of the playlist for this episode. Next up, our friends Entrapment out of Australia. And I was emailed that we pronounce Melbourne wrong. I guess I've been saying Melbourne, so whatever the fuck ever. But yeah, Entrapment out of Australia. They put out another EP called Southport, The Smart Move. Check it out. There's a band from Oslo called Accelerator. They put out a self-titled EP. This thing rips, dude. And I cannot find any info on this band. It's very hard to like Google a band called Accelerator with a self-titled EP. So if anyone knows anything about this band, please get at me because I would like to order it if there's a physical copy. There is a new Existence song, Pain of Expecting Pain, one of the best LPs of last year. The band Planet on a Chain put out another LP this past April. And I just want to call out 2 things. Number one, the drumming on this thing is so spectacular. It is like worth listening to just for the hardcore drumming. This guy is a fucking awesome player. And then also they're just dudes like of our age, like, you know, in our 40s, I think, late 30s, 40s, that are just fucking turning it out. You know what I mean? I saw them at the end of last year in a small bar here in San Diego. They absolutely destroyed in front of, I don't know, 50 to 70 people. That's the fucking realest shit there is. So what's up? Okay, also, there's a band called Hardik out of Indonesia. Shut off the Beavis and Butthead shit you got going on right now. This band rips. The EP is called Frihet, and I'm definitely pronouncing it wrong. But this band rips, and they are the rare hardcore band that runs a vocal effect that I actually like. Also, I just want to say I spent some time with the Crush Your Soul EP. This is Jay Mindforce's other band. It came out in February. Yeah, I don't love the skits on it, but musically, it is really awesome because it's obvious what they're going for, and they just knock it out of the park, both in the songwriting and the production. If you're looking for like an all-out war, marauder, like worship band, you know, with Jay's generational voice on top of it, like this is it. So handle business. The Canal Irreal band out of Chicago, they put out a new LP called Someone Else's Dance. Martine left me on red when I asked him for an interview, but that's okay. I still love this LP, and maybe he'll come on at some point. This is Martine from Crudos. He's doing like a dark, vibey, mid-tempo, like Wipers-esque band, but it has that unmistakable like Chicago Great Lakes sound that runs through it. you know, that dark sound, like the effigies or articles of faith, like it's just unavoidable. Maybe we'll get into this more sometime because I absolutely love this thing. And finally, the band out of Tijuana, Hong Kong Fuck You, they just put out a new digital EP called 1978 to 1981, which is sick. It's just 3 cover songs, Gangrene, Middle Class, and Minor Threat. Yeah, they do it in their own style, which is like they'd kind of be pigeonholed as a Powerviolence band, even though they don't really play Powerviolence. It's more of like a really raw, just punk band. It's funny because the EP is titled 78 to 81, but I think that Gangrene song is from 1982. So what's up? Fuck it, up the punks. And let's get into it. The first record that I want to touch on this episode is from the band In La Muerte. The 7-inch is called Silencio, and it came out on Extinction Burst Records. I love this thing. What do you think, Dan?
It's really great. When I was listening to it, I was thinking, I wonder what Zach thinks this sounds like if there was a band that both our bands played with around this like sound. Who would you have compared it to?
I don't know. Of modern band, or I guess not modern, 20 years ago bands, I don't have a cop for it, but I'm going to explain what I think they sound like. I don't know. What are you thinking, Dan?
Yeah, you go for it, and then I'll jump in with what I was thinking that it kind of gave me sounds like a little bit.
Okay, well, I just think they sound like a simplified version of like that first Suicidal Tendencies LP. Maybe mashed up with like some other 82, 83 SoCal, like Circle One Patterns of Force, something like that. The fast parts are very much like the Suicidal songs, I Shot the Devil or I Want More, or like the faster Circle One songs, like the way the vocals dance on the top of it. They do like a tasteful scissor beat, and it has to be like a conscious choice. I don't think it's because this drummer's sorry. I think they're doing it because that's how they want to sound, because his drum fills sound awesome. And then also like they're doing the scissor beat when, I don't know, like the songs aren't even necessarily like super fast. It's not like they're doing like a Powerviolence-y part where you have to do the scissor beat. They're doing like it over like straight hardcore parts. So, and then like tying back into Suicidal and Circle One, like that song Save Me sounds a lot like the Suicidal song Possessed. And then that song Bleed, it reminds me of that song Survive by Circle One. So I don't know. It just sounds like a lot of like pre-1984 hardcore. But at the same time, it sounds like completely fresh. It sounds like they're doing their own thing. It doesn't seem like they're chasing a sound. I absolutely love it. It's 8 songs in 9.5 minutes. None sound the same. It's not like a shitty throwaway fastcore record or anything. It's like every song stands on its own, but the flow is great. It's well thought out for being so simple and stripped down. And it's straight up one of my favorite hardcore bands right now. Straight up. What do you think, Dan?
Yeah, so what it like spoke to me was the fast parts, the way that they sound like they're just almost out of control. Like, you know, you said the scissor beat like over the regular kind of riffing and stuff like that, to where it's almost like, oh, is this band about to fall apart, even though they're completely in the pocket? Do you know what I mean? And it gave me like Life's Halt vibes. Not full on Life's Halt, like the way Life's Halt would tap into like a breakdown or whatever, but like the fast parts, especially as Life's Halt progressed, I was getting that from it. I really like the way that the singer differentiates their voice from time to time, like on that song Silencio, like going low and like, ooh, and then being like, like fast. It just, a lot of good variety. Like you say, lots of songs that don't sound the same, but they're all from the same family. It's really great. And it's something I was not familiar with before you passed it on, and I'm really happy to have got into En La Muerte.
Yeah, they're playing San Diego in a week or two, and I'm pretty excited. I mean, I straight up love this record. You know, it's so sick. So, hell yeah. Okay, let's move on. Let's go into the band Lost Legion. They put out a record called Behind the Concrete Veil. It came out on, I'm going to pronounce this poorly, it's a Basque label, I think, Mendeku Diskak. And Dan, you absolutely love this thing. Go into it.
Yeah, this is ripping American Oi from kind of where like Great Lakes-ish area, I believe, like Chicago. I think they're straight up Chicago band. This thing rips. It's so good. It's so tuneful, but it's got that melancholia of like what we like from the Froy stuff in there as well. But it's almost got a little bit of Wipers and that kind of delivery as well. There's some songs on here that are just so good. The Animals We Used to Be, that song is so catchy, so great, but so like, and not in a bad way, but dramatic, for this straightforward kind of like oi sound. Although it's not exactly straightforward, because I think there's a lot of cleverness to this. I think the tones on the guitars and the song structuring on almost every single one of these songs is so good. I found myself coming back to it over and over again, like just loving this thing. And, initially, like, I think when I sent it over, I'm like, okay, here's an American oi band that I'm really feeling for once, and then more and more I listen to it, I'm like it's up there for my record of the year at this point to an extent. Like I listened to this thing a lot. There was a song that I really was on the fence about liking at first, that song Cold Hot, and it has totally broken me down and I love it now. Like, I think the music on it is incredible, but the Cold Hot, it's totally reminiscent of Pol Pot, like,
yeah.
The Dead Kennedys, like, homage there. That initially I didn't like, and then it broke me down, and I love it now. The song that it opens with, War Machine, is just such a banger. The Animals We Used to Be, so good. Behind the Concrete Veil, Staring Down the Valley, and Silhouettes in Blue Lights. Also into Cold Hot, like, I love everything about it. It maybe drops off a tiny bit at the end for me, and I don't like the song Fangs that much, but pretty much this is just a really fantastic record for a style that I absolutely love. I can be pretty critical, and like if you do this style and don't do it if you don't excel at it, it can come off really boring so fast. But if you can write songs and you can make things tuneful and you can make it like, okay, I just finished listening to it, put it back on again. If you're doing that, like in this style, you're coming out with like just an absolutely brilliant record.
Yeah, I was excited when you wanted to talk this. Not that I love the style all the time or anything, but it's fun that you're actually into an American oi band, which is usually like your kryptonite. Very snobby, only like in UK and European oi. Yeah, this is, when it's good, it's great. The guitarist, he's pretty amazing, dude. Like his little guitar licks and hooks that he tucks in here, like they completely make the album. Things like the beginning of War Machine, like it's right there. That beginning hook of Animals We Used to Be, Behind the Concrete Veil. It's all there. It's really just all over the place, and it ties the record together. It's like the highlight of the record. This band plays like a street punk style, but is very Great Lakes. Maybe it sounds more Froy, though, than Effigies, but it's somewhere in between the two. Maybe that Canal Real band would be The Faith, and this band is The Void. Yeah, this is nice. It has lots of moments I enjoy. The vocals are very monotone and gruff, so I think that it works the best when it's juxtaposed with super melodic songs. So, like, the more melodic this band gets, I think the better this band is. I also don't love that second track, the Fangs track. In fact, like, I have no idea what psychobilly sounds like, but in my head, this is what it sounds like, and I hate it. So, like, that's what it is. It's kind of like a more rockin' track, a little swingy, a little rocky. Yeah, I just don't love it. I like when they are just soaked in that dark emotion. So that's when they're at their best. But yeah, this is a good listen, notable for the people that like all the Froy stuff we talk about. I think this is worth checking out. And hell yeah. Final thoughts on this, Dan?
I think it's great. I think the album cover is great. And for the record, I do like a North American oi band named Mess.
That's right. That is right. And on tour this summer, so stoked for that. Okay, let's get into the band is Burning Lord. The album is called Arcane Demolition. It came out on Streets of Hate digitally already. The LP is shipping, I believe, sometime in June or July. Let's get into it. Dan, what do you think about this one?
This is really good. Like, and this is a grower too, because I think when we first started talking it was like, oh yeah, these songs are great, but God, this is a long record. And I think actually, I don't, because I've been listening to it a lot at work, so sometimes a longer record I don't mind in that realm, but probably if it was on a turntable at home, it might wane a little thin. But this band, it's like got elements of well, obviously it's modern hardcore, but it is leaning heavy on that roots NYHC style, but it's also just as much Cleveland as it is NY, you know? It's to me like residing somewhere in a perfect spot between Killing Time and Straight Up Integrity. Like it's not going as hard on like solos and stuff, even though there are some really good ones on here, and there are some really interesting like reaches production wise, like on that song Soul Keeper on Cannibals, like some really interesting like, okay, we're going to build to this like crazy vocal part, and it's going to be differentiate us from what's generally out there in this lane. It's really tapping into like could have been recorded at Mars, but also listened to Brightside like 5 times. Also can't help but be influenced by lots of their peers at the same time. I think it's really fantastic. I think it sounds amazing. I think the drumming's great, and it really it's a grower too. Like I started out liking it, and now I really like it. So it's one of those ones that you spend more time with it, you're gonna like dive in further. I believe maybe it leans a little bit on being too long. Maybe it could two or three tracks could be shaved off to make it just next level. But you know, who's gonna fault? Like you know, it's not saying that any of the songs are bad per se to shave them off, but I think you have a stronger output if you shave a few of these songs off and then you have an EP, and those songs that you shaved off you've got ready for an EP, and then you're hitting twice as hard on 2 different formats.
Okay, so you call out the length of the record. That's a thing I want to address. And also, if I'm being 100% real, there's 2 things I don't like about the record. The intro I think is goofy. It's just a waste, like the 45 seconds, like the vibe shit. Like, let's just get to it, especially because the first song is so great. Also, like, I can't decide if I love or hate the cover art. Like, I think it falls a little more like Army of Darkness than something savage. So there's that. Dan, you were talking about the length of the record, and I agree 100%. Although I don't know what I would cut, like you're saying. Like, all the songs are good. I've gone through this record a ton of times, and yeah, towards the end, it feels a little long. Although, like, some of the stuff at the end of the record is like my favorite stuff. So I don't know. I don't know what you do here. What I'd like to see a band try to do is like cut the record in half. Like, if you're going to put out, this is a 13 song LP. So like, let's just say it's a 14 song record. What if you like release the first like 7 songs as soon as like you had it digitally mastered? Just put it up. It's out there on streaming for everyone. And then like when the vinyl ships, you like put out the other 7 songs, which is like the full side B. Then you'd have like an EP to digest and another EP to digest. But you really did an LP, so you get like the LP credit, you know what I mean, for your songwriting chops and all that. I just think that like I like this record a lot, and it would be more digestible in 2 pieces. But let me get into the positive, because I do absolutely love this thing. Dan, you called out Cleveland. That's all it is. I don't hear anything else here. I just think it totally captures like that sound of Cleveland, like, but specifically like 89 to 91. So I'm talking like the Integrity demo and 7-inch. I'm talking that Die Hard LP, and I'm talking the Ringworm demo. And we should also just say, like, if I think this is channeling so much of the Ringworm demo, like the Ringworm demo has like an intro on every song. You know what I mean? So shout out Burning Lord, shout out to Ringworm. You're doing it. This is really metallic, like the way that Clevo shit is too. But like it's only one step away from hardcore, so it still has like that punk edge to it. And I I love the singer's voice. It's just a dude belting out like a wild man instead of like trying to do like a goofy metal voice. And also like he makes an attempt to write some really catchy stuff. Like there's some good ass hooks in here. Also, I want to say that this is a full positive, although it might come off like a little negative, but some of the playing on here is like sloppy, and that's a good thing because it makes this thing sound like it has a lot of personality, and it doesn't sound like, you know, almost every modern metallic hardcore record just sounds like it's like made in a lab, and it sounds like completely like it's just saccharine. You know what I mean? Like, so this thing just sounds so raw and so good. And it just sounds like they're going for it, like belting it out. I love the whole thing. I think it's going to be an album of the year contender. Yeah, the only thing I got in is like, I think the first 45 seconds are a waste. And the album might be a little long, but like, I don't know what to cut, dude. You know what I mean? Like that song, We Move the Earth, that's one of my favorite tracks. That's like right at the end. So yeah, I don't know. I absolutely love this thing. Dan, you got anything else?
Yeah, I don't mind. You know, I think back when we were talking about it, like on text, you and I, you're like, "Do you love the record cover?" And I'm like, "Yes and no." Yes, I love like how like yeah, like you said, Army of Darkness or Warhammer, it looks, but it also has like a weird like bleeding, almost taggery. I don't know. It's crazy because it looks like it was hand done, and I love that. But I can also see it maybe not matching what the band is. But then when you see the song titles, it really goes along with what the song titles are, you know?
Yeah, one final thing, like bands, please put the lyrics up on the Bandcamp because, like, you know, I ordered this record, so I'm going to have it, and hopefully it has a lyric sheet, but it's not shipping for a couple months, and I'd just like to be able to know what the lyrics are. It's sick when bands like take the effort and put them up on Bandcamp, and also like, you know, most hardcore bands these days are pressing like 1,000 records. So like the majority of people are like taking in music through streaming. So it's just sick to put the lyrics out there. It's a giant component of what makes hardcore special. I would just like to see bands put emphasis on that and like be proud of their lyrics and make sure they're like available for the people. So that's that. But yeah, great record. Everyone check it out.
I'm taking it back to the old school because I'm an old fool.
I'm taking it back to the old school because I'm an old fool.
Yo, what's up, motherfuckers? Old school.
All right, we are back on Dan's journey through the Poison Idea catalog. We're going to do the big one. We are doing the Kings of Punk LP. Came out in 1986 on Pussmort Records. And there is a beautiful TKO reissue that came out recently. So handle business. There is no excuse to not have this in your collection anymore. Dan, what do you think about this one? Where does it fit into the Poison Idea lexicon that you have become familiar with?
This is top of the heap so far. This thing is incredible. This is telling me, I mean, I enjoyed everything so far. You know I did. I've talked about it. I've loved everything so far. But this is giving me everything I want. Like, starts out with Lifestyles. I guarantee Lifestyles is a song that Zach is not going to say is too long, even though it's 3 minutes and 3 seconds or something like that.
Correct.
Because what would you lose from this song? It's unbelievable. And the lyrics, so hard. Like, oh God, bitching about Big Brother while Big Sister scratches my back.
So good.
God, and vocally, like, his vocals on all the other stuff that we've listened to so far have been great, but this is going to the next level. This is someone so comfortable with their voice and being able to stretch it, being able to do so much with it, to expand it in certain areas, do the almost like West Coast, like hardcore talky stuff over certain things that just has so much attitude and so much charisma on those parts. And then to do these long out yells that are just perfect vocals. It starts out with Lifestyles. Absolutely. I'm just going to give you like my favorites because we'll be here forever if I talk about every single song on this. But Lifestyles into Short Fuse, so good. Then Ugly American. What a song. And then we get to Death Wish Kids. I'm not downplaying Subtract or Cop and Attitude or anything, but I'm just hammering the ones that are favorites. That riff on Death Wish Kids, like that main verse riff, is just unbelievable. And the like that is across many of the songs on this record. Like the way that the guitars are so good, but they are players. And the inventiveness just to do slight little tweaks and twerks with like the guitar that just add so much over this like perfect punk riff or perfect hardcore riff, really. And then the big boy for me, Made to Be Broken. I've probably listened to that song like 10,000 times since I started this journey now.
Well, welcome to the dark side, Dan. I've put it on like 2 Super 7 playlists, right?
Yeah, I know. Well, that's what I was going to say is like when we did the Super 7 of this year and you and Clevo took songs from this, was it Lifestyles and Made to Be Broken?
Yeah, and then I also took this song, I believe, for Pacific Northwest.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. The riff, and then it just devolves into like beautiful chaos, and then comes back to the riff, and then comes to a full-blown stomping part. It's, yeah, welcome to the dark side. Where have I been for 30 years? For 30 plus? 30, well, like, yeah.
I mean, that's the reason why we're doing this, right? Is like, it's so hard to attack a band that has a giant catalog, right? Yeah. Like, you don't know where to start. Everyone's telling you something different. You know what I mean? And it's just like, if you have 4 people and they're all telling you something different, and they easily could be, right? There's people that are all pick your king. There's people that are all kings of punk. There's people that are all feel the darkness. I'm sure there's people that ride for other records. You know what I mean? So if you don't know where to start, it can be very daunting. So like going through the catalog like this is pretty fun. I love this record. Obviously, it's some of the best hardcore punk of all time. But I do want to say one thing, and hear me out, people. What if this album cut the song Short Fuse? It's a good song, but it's not a great song. And I just think if this record went from Lifestyles to God Not God, oh my God, that would be so ripping. And then that would set up Ugly American as being the first mid-tempo song on the record. That would be out of this world. You know what I mean? Also, we just got to say, Death Wish Kids in a Made to Be Broken, one of the greatest 1-2 punches in the history of hardcore punk. So
it's giving Last One, Blind Justice into Last One in a little like looking over its shoulder, like, oh shit.
That's right. That's right. Although that's true. Although this is like 4 times as long as that combo.
True. When we talked this on that Super 7, did you? I think I have a brief memory of you commenting about how great the "Fuck You" on Made to Be Broken is, and how nonchalantly amazing it is.
Yeah, it might be my favorite "Fuck You" in the history of punk.
It is so fucking good. It is so good.
It's so sincere.
Yeah. And the lyrics to this, not just Made to Be Broken, but the lyrics across this LP are just true punks, like absolutely full-blown punk, meaning like, I am not part of what you are doing. You know, it's incredible.
Yeah, he's a punk poet. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, you know how much money I'd pay to have this guy and Paul Bearer like sit in a room together and fucking hash it out? Maybe I should try to set that up on the podcast.
Oh my God. Like, yes, please.
Yeah, like just straight up poets, straight up fans of hardcore music, and 2 of the best lyricists of all time. All right, Dan, where can people find you?
They can find me listening to this on my TKO Records. Thank you to TKO Records. And they can find me at the Whistle Stop every 3rd Friday doing Fucking in the Bushes, at the Cat Club in SF every 4th Friday doing Club Leisure. And they can also, I didn't get a chance on when you did a quick shout out, so I'm just going to do a really quick one. That Kriegshog on La Vida SM Muse, that thing rips. We didn't get to it this time. I really like it. And they can find me on Instagram at Southport Instagrammer. Thank you.
But you know what? There's things called fun facts and then unfun facts.
Fun facts and then unfun facts.
Punk and hardcore songs with harmonica. The Nips, All the Time in the World. Victims, the New York City band I Want Head. UK Subs, I Couldn't Be You. UK Subs, Ambition. Gorilla Biscuits, Start Today. Unsane, Alleged. Rancid, Cocktails. Paintbox, Track 14 off of Earth Ball Sports Tournament. Unsane, This Stops at the River. And Bad Noids, My Country. If you got any more, send them in.
Scene report.
All right, I'm going to do the first scene report here on 185 Miles South, and I'm going to talk San Diego Hardcore 2024. I moved down here in the year 2006, but I've been going to shows down here since my first hardcore band, Voice of Defiance, played Coronado in 97. We also played Soma, and I can't remember where else we played. But yeah, I've been going to shows here off and on ever since. How is the scene now compared to 3 to 5 years ago? Well, like everywhere else in the country, there's been a post-COVID spike. Hardcore is as popular as I've ever seen. All the national, like mainline name brand bands, they can sell out the Shit Cafe. They're packing them into like the bar shows. You know, they're selling out Soda Bar. They're selling out Brick by Brick. Saw Terror here in January, I believe, and they sold out Brick. That's like a 500 to 600 cap venue. It's one of their biggest shows in a while, so it's hot. What bands we got going on? I'm going to go alphabetical. We got Abstain. They're a 90s style metallic hardcore band. They put out a 12-inch on War Records. Also, the drummer, he books a ton of shows at the Shea, and they really deserve your support. Killer-ass band. Adult Crash. This is a scene veteran band, including ex-Amenity guitarist Tim Gonzalez on vocals. He also plays guitar sometimes. They put out their first 12-inch in the 2010s, and it was one of the most underrated records of the decade. Also, they put out a second 12-inch last year, and spoiler alert, it rips too. All right, we got Agonista. They're a TJ D-beat band. They lean more like on the Stadium Crust side than they do straight Discharge, but all the songs, they're mostly short, and this band rips. They put out a 12-inch this year. Check it out. All Beat Up. This is a really active DIY hardcore punk band. They just did a Mexico tour. Their song Shattered Man is a harder song than 99% of the beatdown songs you're going to hear, and that's what's up. Okay, Angel Guts. This is a drop-tuned, crusty hardcore band that falls somewhere between Powerviolence and grindcore. Axe Collector. This is a wild, noisy, spastic hardcore band that leans Powerviolence. Bayonet. Scene veterans. They play ripping Powerviolence. They're one of the best hardcore bands in San Diego. They got a great 7-inch out on Indecision Records. They put out a tape last year with some more ripping songs and did an East Coast tour. They deserve your attention. Check them out. Bent Blue. There's a melodic hardcore band that's sometimes fast and also sometimes a little revolution summary. They put out a 12-inch on War Records. Big Attitude. This is a newer kind of poppy punk band. They sound like the Ramones meet the Queers, members of PSO, Killer. Chelona. This is a newer band. They got no music out yet, but they play some shows and they're trying to make their stamp on the scene. Cold Path. This is a beatdown hardcore band, but they got short songs. They got some good bounce parts. They got some shit up on Bandcamp and streaming. Crashing Forward. This is scene veterans in a newer band. They put out a 12-inch on Indecision Records. Very 90s sounding. We talked it last year on the pod, so get in those archives. Crime Desire. These are scene veterans at this point. They've been a band for 20 years or so. No new music in the last 10 years, but maybe something coming soon. And two of the members in this band, they run the best 2 punk record stores in San Diego County. So much respect. Def Club. This is the current Justin Pearson hardcore band. It sounds like a Justin Pearson hardcore band. Dispersed. This is a heavy, bouncy, moshy hardcore band. They're one of the most active and best San Diego hardcore bands. They did a 2-week tour last summer, and they deserve your support. Let's see here. Dying Species. They're kind of in the Screech and Weasel vein. They got ex-dudes from John Cougar concentration camp that you might be familiar with. Funeral March. This is not the old school San Diego punk band. This is a newer San Diego punk band that plays a gothy style. They're cool, but dude, plug your names into Discogs, people. What are you doing? Gene Stealer. This is a ripping band who lands somewhere between death metal and grindcore. Get Pieced. This is a bouncy hardcore band with beatdown mosh parts, but the singer has a good, clean voice, and that kind of sets them apart. Headstone, this is a death metal-esque band. They got some synth, they got some big mosh parts. Hereditary, this is a popular San Diego band. They are maybe our answer to circa 2016 Regulate. And one of the most popular bands in the area. Put out a EP last year that was pretty well received. Just did a little West Coast run with Take Offense, so handle business. Check them out. Hong Kong Fuck You. This is a TJ band. They're a really unique band. A lot of people lump them in like as a Powerviolence band, but at their best, they're playing like a really solid mid-tempo street punk in their own style. They're super unique. You got to check them out. Human Resources. They're a straightforward, ripping DIY hardcore band. Intercom, they're out of control, fast, noisy, lo-fi hardcore. Intermission, this is a super cool post-punk style band, but it's 0% pretentious or lame. I love this band. I wish it was up on Spotify, but you can check out their Bandcamp. Keepers, this is a punk band that leans a little death rock. It's super cool. Left to Rot, this is a raw, early 80s style hardcore punk band with serious manic vocals. It's wild style. I love it. Madrugado, this is a noisy hardcore band with grindy fast parts and big moshes. One of the dudes puts on shows and shit, so much respect. Mankind, this is a new hardcore band that has San Diego hardcore veterans, bouncy, streetwise style sounding hardcore. Maybe San Diego's answer to Box Cutter. I don't know. Mongrel, this is a death metal / mosh band, savage ass band. You know them. They put out a 12-inch that's a split release between Days and Maggot Stomp, and they're one of the most popular bands in the area, bringing the pain. No Luck. This is a heavy, moshy hardcore band, but I wouldn't pigeonhole them as metalcore or as like a generic beatdown band. They're a sick band. They got their own style. Nowhere Safe. This is a straight up aggro crossover band, ripping, dude. Just straight crossover, fast picking. You know what's up. Out of Chances. This is a drop tune beatdown band. Palace of Mourning, a moshy metal band. Philistine. This is a zero bullshit fast hardcore band. Project Sellout or PSO. This is a hardcore band from Lemon Grove, scene veterans at this point. They really held down the scene big time in the early 2010s. They deserve not only your support, but your respect. Purist Bond, this is a melodic metalcore band. Rod of Correction, this is a crossover band. Members of Crime Desire and Take Offense. They put out 2 12-inches on Indecision Records. Check it out. Sangre, this is a noisy Powerviolence band. Sod, this is a drop-tuned beatdown band, but they got a lot of personality. See You Space Cowboy, this is a self-proclaimed sasscore band. They bounce between metalcore, mathcore, and what some kids call scene music to my ears. They are extremely popular at this point with hundreds of thousands of listeners on Spotify, so check it out. They're from San Diego. Serenity, this is a metalcore band. Their 2024 EP has a superb recording. So even though I don't really like this style of music at all, this thing sounds great. And if you're into metalcore, you got to check it out. Six Shooter, they sound like a slam style death metal hardcore band to me. I don't know, but that's what they sound like. So check it out. Spiritual Warfare, this is a riffy mid-tempo hardcore band. They play a ton of shows. Sumo, this is one of my favorite San Diego hardcore bands. They play bouncy mid-tempo style hardcore. They got a ton of personality, and the dudes, they run the Slow Death promotion, so they're putting on a ton of shows. They're giving back to the scene, and they deserve your support. Systematic Abuse, this is a hardcore punk band with some thrash tendencies. The Plagues, they're drivey, melodic, mid-tempo punk. Take Offense, you know them, you love them. They just put out their 4th LP, so much respect. They just did a West Coast weekend in celebration of that. They're going back east in a week or two, doing Europe this summer. You know what's up with Take Offense, dude. Or you're a motherfucking ostrich. What's up? Therapy, they're a ripping hardcore punk band for the true punks. They're sick, dude. They got a 12-inch out. I'm sure you can track it down. They play a lot of the shows when some of the national D-beat bands or like raw punk bands roll through, and they're sick. Tilt Wheel, they're still going. They're a mid-tempo soulful punk band. They were on that Cinema Beer Goggles VHS, so we love here on the pod. And I hear sometimes they still find 40s in dumpsters. Also, they no-showed the first punk show that I ever booked up in Goleta in the year 96 or 97, and I'm never forgetting it, motherfucker. Just kidding. It is all forgiven. This singer-guitarist dude, he runs Red Brontosaurus Records and puts on shows there too. So much respect. The band Tourist, they were a Powerviolence band. Now they're more mid-tempo and brooding. Still just a killer band. Unbroken, they're a legendary hardcore band. You know them. And but they're playing shows this year. They're playing the Bay. They're playing the UK. I'm sure both are sold out, but dude, sneak in. Fuck it. Okay, Violencia, they're a TJ band. They walk the line between straight early 80s hardcore and Powerviolence. At their best, they mix in some death rock shit. They're one of my favorite hardcore bands in the world. And they put out one of my favorite LPs of last year. It just got its second press, so there's no excuse. You need it in your collection. Handle business. War Fever. This is a melodic hardcore band with scene veterans, ex Unwritten Law, ex one of the most underrated 90s San Diego bands, The Neighbors, and ex one of Dan's favorite punk bands of all time, Sprung Monkey. Okay, and finally, Zero Trace. This is a bouncy, mid-tempo, moshy hardcore band. All right, what are the main clubs? Where should out-of-town bands want to play? And what promoters should they get in touch with? Well, the Shea Cafe has been a staple of the San Diego hardcore scene since the late 80s. You know, bands like Inside Out played here. In the early 90s, Unbroken played here in their prime. Undertow, Outspoken, all these bands. And still going strong. It is volunteer run, much like Gilman Street in the Bay. If you're a band and you haven't played the Shea, you should make it an issue to play because it's one of those clubs where, like, you know, if you're a hardcore band and you roll through a bunch of times and you don't play there, we see right through you. You know what I'm saying? Okay. Also, for the bar shows, we got Brick by Brick. We got the Tower Bar. We got Casbah. We got Soda Bar. Tower, they got most of the shows going on for like the true punks. And also for all ages, there's some DIY shows at an Ask a Punk spot called the Print Shop that's super ill. The Slow Death Dudes, they do shows out at this spot called the Fraternal Order of Eagles in National City, which is sick because if you're a band that's toured the country, you know, a lot of times you play like VFW halls and shit. That's really never been a piece of hardcore in Southern California, you know, at least, or it missed me. And it's sick, dude, because I feel like I'm playing fucking, Watervliet, New York or some shit when I'm at a show there. So it's sick. It's a nice throwback. There's also sporadic shows at Corazon del Barrio in Logan. Also the Bancroft Bar out in Spring Valley. The Holding Company in OB. They take some legacy acts. Red Brontosaurus Records. They do some small in-house shows. And also there's a little DIY spot called the Brown Building. They can pack like 40 punks in there and get it done. Promoters. Okay, you can look these dudes up on Instagram. You got Dread Presents. You got Zoned In. You got Slow Death. You got Picos y Lagramas. You got The Firm. You got Music Bad Records. You got Triumph Records. And I'm sure you got a ton more. I can't find everything, dude, so don't get at me. Okay, other unique contributors, zines, photographers, videographers, record labels, etc. Well, you know the best hardcore podcast, dude. 185 miles south. What's up? Photographers, you know you got the man Modern Mike. That's Modern X Mike on Instagram. We got Ben Foreman Photo on Instagram. Deadpixels.sd. Sidewalk Slammed 1904. Kevo Lights and DXR.photo, all on Instagram. These people are all super talented. San Diego is bustling with photographer talent. And give them all a follow, handle business. Videographers, we got Underworld.619. They're out there filming a ton of shows. We also got Beat Nick Gunzo. He's filming a bunch of shows, so handle business. Check those out. Give them a follow. Labels. Dude, I listed like 50 bands. Go check out their band camps and figure it out that way. All right, best places to eat. You know I'm keeping it all vegan and vegetarian because that's what's up. And if you don't like it, whatever. Go fuck yourself. Okay, Pokey's Mexican Food. This is a hardcore staple since the 90s. It's in downtown. Pokey's SD, handle business. TNT Pizza, also downtown, run by some hardcore kids. You know, Heartwork Coffee in Mission Hills, run by hardcore kids. And we're up there every weekend. Come say hi. Hazel and Jade Bakery in Hillcrest, Ben and Esther's, another like bakery sandwich shop out by SDSU. I still vouch for Sips. I know some people don't, but that's old school vegan Chinese food. Been around since late 90s, early 2000s. I rep the Claremont location because that's close to me. Also, Ranchos in North Park. This is an old school place that supported vegan vegetarian shit. I always thought it was trash. The menu's too big. I've ordered some real fucking bunk things off that menu. But I had a friend that hit me to the tofu torta. And that thing is the truth, dude. So Ranchos in North Park, get that tofu torta. And also they got vegan horchata if that's your thing. Also repping for the Underdog food truck. And you know My girlfriend, she got a restaurant called Mekong Lao and Thai on Convoy. They are expanding right now and renovating, so they're just open for takeout, but they're reopening in June, and we may or may not have a secret vegan hardcore menu when they open back up. So handle business. You got to support Mekong or you're a straight up lame. Best record stores. We got Standards in Vista and Reanimated in La Mesa. These are the two best punk stores in San Diego County. Other good record stores. M Theory in Mission Hills. Vinyl Junkies in South Park. Record City in Point Loma. Red Brontosaurus in North Park. And Beatbox in Logan. That's more like a rap and soul spot, but they're sick. They deserve your support as well. Okay, finally, where do I see the scene in 3 to 5 years? Crumbling. All right, for Punishment Shattered Realm, this is Hardcore Fest. Philly HC shows. It's Joe Hardcore. What's up, dude?
Man, thank you for having me on this awesome show. I'm excited.
Hey, thanks for having me on. What, 2 years ago?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was sick. Although I'm better on this side of the mic, I think. You know, not the best interviewee. I'm better at talking on this side. So that's what's up. Joe, what is the best thing and the worst thing about hardcore in 2024?
That despite all of the really bad things that we didn't have to grow up through in hardcore, there's still young kids that get the real hardcore stuff, if that makes sense. Like, there's so many people in the culture who I don't have a negative, like, fuck that person, but there's bands you immediately meet from a booking stage like we have, where they're just looking at you like, okay, this is first step. 3 years from now, we're going to be behind that barricade in the green room. We'll never have to play these kind of shows. And for that, there's so many young kids who are starting bands and doing it like, I have no idea how I'm doing it. We just wanted to leave, so we drove 100 miles just to play this show, and we only need $20. So that there's still a bouncing point. Yeah, so like, even though it's huge and blown out right now, the net is so big that it's catching some real ones too. Absolutely. And I see from the angle of the younger kid, like, you know, like it takes him a couple years to kind of figure out like what this whole thing is and what bands are this. And, you know, it's a weird time, and the internet, it makes it omnipresent. Like, remember sitting at like before you left for a show and you were excited because you hadn't seen your friends and you haven't done this, and maybe you went to the record store. But like, with the internet being omnipresent and social media keeping you in constant communication, it sucks to show up to a show dry with like very little new conversations to have with your close friends. Nothing that, yo, did you check out this new record? Why? Because we already talked about it the minute it hit the internet, you know? Yeah. People are in constant communication, right? Texting and through social media and stuff. So it's not like it's not like the show is like the water cooler like it used to be, maybe. No, it's exactly. We try to make it better. I like when people who haven't been around, like I did the Civ Shelter show, and it was awesome because there were people like legit like, dude, this is so crazy. I got to like I respect that they haven't been out, like, and they're just like, dude, you know, the kids and the wife, but I'm out tonight, brother. And you're like, dude, it's great that there's some dudes who still like have that excitement like that, you know? Yeah, it's interesting. Like, what do you attribute to like hardcore's post-COVID explosion? Like, what's it coming from? What's it coming from, like, as in where we're at in 2024, or like an overview of what it was like that? No, like, what is the thing that's making it popular? And where do you think the kids are coming from? They're coming from social media primarily, and you can tell because we noticed an uptick for certain bands, not so much after the first 6 months. So, like, our first Philly show back was July 3rd for the Year of the Knife record release, and 2022, or 21 rather. And then we just couldn't get it off the ground to do anything else. But we just had the passing of Stu from Bane, and like the very next night we had this Philly show. I seen kids I never saw before, and by the summer of the next year, where we had a This Is Hardcore for Real in 2022, some of them folks had already gone, and they would only pop back up for, like, let's say a Tsunami or the Kubla Khans and that kind of thing. but they were still like not getting deeper into the other shit that we did, you know?
Yeah, what is that, you think? Like, it's just a surface level, like, internet participation?
I wouldn't put it in just one category. I would say if you're brand new and you're a young kid and you don't have a wide scope of like, well, this is also hardcore and this is hardcore and this could be and this is punk rock, you go with the couple bands that you know, or you go with like what your friends are going to. And I had to remember that myself, having friends, like older friends who would go to one show, but like when me and my younger guys were going to go to this, I'm like, I'm not going to that. And I think it's just it's a continuation of going where your social group is, because it's a social outing, but also not checking out the stuff that you're unfamiliar with, which is the crazy concept considering the internet and it's in the Spotify's and all this stuff. But I really do, like, for instance, there's a group of kids I remember seeing very early on in the COVID, and they only come for the brand name, and you don't see them in between, even to this point, because I hadn't seen a couple of them in like a year or so. And then we did a show recently with like a pretty well-known younger band name that everyone loves, and they were right there up front. I'm like, okay, they didn't go away. They're just only coming to the shit they either know or the only hardcore shit they listen to. And I don't understand the pecking order of why some of the stuff is and how some of the stuff isn't. It's completely up to the weird sorting hat of sorts of where these kids come in from.
Yeah, I kind of have a theory that like hardcore is propped up by two things right now, and no one really actually likes hardcore. I think it's propped up by like what people are calling like hardcore adjacent, or like the alt hardcore bands, you know, like the Military Guns, the Drug Churches, the Fiddleheads, which are nice to listen to and have like a lot of mass appeal. And then also like the TikTok, like the crazy hardcore videos, right? So you see a 20-second clip of something crazy and you either want to go witness it or you want to like go do it. You know, I think that maybe those two things are propping this thing up more than just like people being like, oh, that music's sick.
You know, Bob Wilson is the purveyor of those, the first group of bands, and he like loves that stuff. And I mean, I have really very little connection, like emotionally with it. Those kind of bands end up on bills that I do when they're part of tour packages, but I wouldn't seek them out. But I think you have something there solely because it's like a casual, easy access thing. And it's supported by all of the current social media, not just the individualists who have their own like personal pages and support the bands, but a lot of the current bands that are popular, their record labels are very good with getting out there to what we would call the press. Now, remember the press before were like hand-printed zines or maybe higher grade zines in our time. Now it's the couple different .coms and a couple different Instagram pages and stuff that cover this kind of crap, that if you're only subjected to that, you're going to think these are the most popular and important bands, and you never dig deeper. And the other thing is also what you said about when it comes to the social media, like viral videos, it's always bizarre what makes it. And then I've never understood, like, I guess for algorithmic sake, somebody like Shaq will take a video from some band and post it. And then everybody in hardcore is like, dude, this is so crazy. Shaq knows what this stuff is. He doesn't know what this stuff is. He's also posting a video of some horse kicking a guy in the dick. Right. He's just posting something for like one of the clips is from FYA is a friend of ours who was walking through the pit during an FYA set and gets clobbered, and that went viral. There's a bunch of viral moments that just kind of supersede its overall importance culturally. I agree on that. Also, I would also say that I didn't experience this because I was well into hardcore before I even turned 18. But there's a lot of folks who are playing catch up still, and they're still like, they're like the kid who failed like five grades in a row. So they're in their mid-20s and they're still in like their first year of hardcore, and they really don't know what's what. So they're just following whatever someone's telling them. It's a weird thing, and I don't exactly have to like it, but I agree with it. What is your take on the impact from that Finn McKinty and that the Dan Frampton guy? Do you think that they add value or bring those people in, or this is just fodder?
Man, don't set me up for this, Joe. I try to get
I
along
was
with them.
wondering, I mean-
I think the Finn McKenty guy, like, he kind of drives me crazy. You know, like it has a purpose, but it's kind of like you feel like you can learn from it, but then, you know, okay, so for instance, I never knew there was a style called slam. You know what I mean? And then I was like, oh shit, there's this whole like scene of death metal that's based off of one fucking suffocation part, right? And it's like, okay, because I know nothing about it, I'm like, this is pretty sick, actually. You know, and I know that like it's got a lot of nerd connotations and like a lot of true death metal heads like think it's dumb or whatever, right? But I'm like, I kind of fucking like this. You know, it's like it's as someone that's a pretty casual death metal poser and is only into like the biggest bands of the early 90s, their first couple albums. I'm like, damn, I kind of like this shit. So I'm trying to learn about it. And like, yeah, Finn McKenty, dude, here's a dude that knows how to fucking advertise on YouTube, right? So I watched his slam video and I was like, damn, that was a pretty good summary. Now I feel like I have a little bit of a grip on this thing. And so that's cool until you see him talk about something that you actually know about. And then you're like, this motherfucker doesn't know shit. You know what I mean?
So you're saying he's a Wikipedia dude.
Yeah, basically, right? I mean, when it comes to like tried and true hardcore, and I'm sure he came up and like went to hardcore shows whenever, but like he was doing this video that I saw once that was like comparing like metalcore stuff, and it's like Unbroken from Orange County and like comparing them to like Marauder, right? And it's like, okay, well, first of all, Unbroken is like one of the most timeless San Diego bands of all time, right? Like everyone knows, if you know anything about like hardcore, you associate Unbroken with San Diego. So it's like you got the whole fucking region wrong. And then it's like you're comparing a record, Unbroken's first LP, Ritual, which like isn't that great, and you're comparing it with fucking Master Killer. Like this is not apples to apples, you know what I mean? So like just shit like that is like, you know what I mean? It's kind of like 10 years ago I used to listen to Rogan, and like he'd talk about stuff or he'd have people on and you're like, damn, this guy, like, you know, he's pretty open-minded, like he kind of knows a lot, it seemed like. And then he'd talk about something that you knew about and be like, this guy's a fucking moron. You know what I mean? Like he would go on about how like, dude, he did this whole rant once about how there were no homeless people in San Diego. And it must be because like we're a big military town and shit. It's like, dude, we're like top 3 for unhoused people like year after year. Like you don't know shit because you come in, you play the Comedy Store in La Jolla, which is literally the nicest neighborhood in all of San Diego. You know what I mean? And then you fucking leave. Like you don't know shit. But when people talk about things with such authority, like, and you don't know anything about it, you kind of like listen and you're like, oh, like this dude knows what he's talking about. And honestly, this is something that I have to like check myself on all the time because I'm not an authority of anything, dude. I don't fucking know shit. You know what I mean? So it's like, if on the podcast we want to talk about Finnish hardcore or something, I got to bring on someone that actually knows what they're talking about. So like, I just think that like us like putting out, I mean, I guess we're putting out content, right? It sounds dirty to say, or putting out information. Like you should be conscious of things you don't know. Like, and that's a good virtue to have. And I think that a lot of content creators like do not have that virtue, or they've completely compromised it in order for clicks.
I first of all, I commend you on the Joe Rogan thing, because I went down that same world where I was like, man, Joe knows a lot of shit. And then I would have friends of mine who would chime in on stuff and kind of be like, look, there's things that the dude might really well know, but you know, it's a bias. There's a perspective bias. And he has, especially, it's actually harder for me to listen to him in current times because every fucking episode he talks about the same stuff and the saunas and these ice baths. And now that fucking Toby is an ice bath dude. And it's like, yo, not all of us are sponsored by fucking ice baths and fucking saunas. So maybe we're not going to get the opportunity to try this shit the fuck out. But I find it interesting that it kind of got into the zeitgeist of a lot of podcast people that I know. When it comes to creating something, you have to decide it's kind of the same path that we're talking about in the earlier. You did In Control because you wanted to play in a band and you wanted to do cool shit. I did this podcast because I got so tired of bad hardcore podcasts. And I had the opportunity with Captive Time that I tried it out, and I'm still trying it out and still trying to make it work. But if someone said to me in a hypothetical scenario that like my girlfriend's involved with like conventions and cosplay stuff, if someone was like, "Oh, you should come on as a content creator," I'm like, "No, I don't create content. I talk about my culture. I talk about my interests, and I'm not doing this to create content. I'm doing this in the modern form of what a zine would be." Or in a conversation with a friend, is when you and I speak, we're friends, and we can have a conversation regardless if it ends up on a podcast or not. So content is, to me, is like the dirtiest language. It's like, and it also like goes back to like the COVID time when like everybody who was not working, you'd see it buy my content, like the Beetlejuice flashing light in the model. Like it's like content became like a weird, dirty word in a sense. With people like Finn, obviously Richie's had him on the podcast. We've kind of kicked the tires on having him come on. I feel like his entire job, because he does create content for the possibility of profit, is to be a guy on YouTube who can be easily accessed and clicked upon, and you're buying into his perspective. So he has to talk from a point of view that is informative for what he feels like he can carry. And I also think he's like 20% troll, 10% invested, and 70%. Hey, this is what I got to crank out this week, so people keep coming to my pages. Versus the Dan Frampton, who is like the Joker scenario, where he's only there to troll and aggravate people, but also sometimes has poignant. He's kind of like the fool in the court of the king. He's making a lot of jokes, and he's able to, so he has a little bit more leeway in this silly shit, because you can't really take him seriously, but every once in a while the shit hits home.
I'll give it up to him, because like his early stuff when he was doing like that stage dive critique shit and just coming up with like the character names, I actually thought was really funny. But I feel like he might have felt like he was underappreciated, like his little niche like wasn't hitting. Because like those videos, like I thought they were funny, but they'd have like, a couple hundred people. And I think that he just like went nuts, right? It's like he felt like he was like should have been more popular than he was. And so he like went for like the cheap heat, which is like, it just is kind of lame. Like you went from like being a funny dude to like a lame shit talker. And I don't know, it kind of like lost its magic. Like I'm not looking for like a hot take from you, dude, because I don't necessarily like respect your opinion. Where like if you're just like having, good humor of like, oh, there's Joey Sixpack. Oh, he just did a stage dive. Oh, he just did a flip. Like that shit was kind of funny, like for real. But like when you're trying to do a full heel turn and it's obvious that like one, your heart's not really in it, and two, like you're just coming off like a lame ass shit talker, like I don't got time for it. I haven't watched any of those, dude, to be honest with you. I saw like the first one that he got heat over, and then that was a wrap. Like I don't give a fuck on either side of it.
I've DM'd him twice with, "Yo, let's get on the show." That's as far as I get. Like he's never emailed Jess. Actually, one time he did email Jess. He was kind of a dick about it, and then he broke character and was like, "Nah, for real, let me know what's up with it." And I kind of want to take it on to see where this goes, kind of like what kind of weird shit is. But getting back to the point of it is like the idea of creating content when there is, to me and you and plenty of other people who have podcasts that are focused on this culture, the content's already there. And honestly, the best people bring it out in their own specific perspectives. And it's why it's exciting when you guys have a new episode. And it's why, I truly think if there was a thing you guys should do, dude, like you guys could put that fucking those Super Sevens into that the Washington National Archives, because it's like good, reputable information for so many younger folks who are like afraid to say like, I don't know the band from 1982, or I don't know the band from like, this is such good shit. And because you guys aren't doing the Frampton thing and you're not doing, the other dude's thing, you guys are creating like something that is actually like a how, not just a how to, but like a guide. you guys are guiding people into some really important records, and it's actually great from someone who loves the show because your takes are always controlled. Like there's no beat down on something. There's no complete like assassination, and it's all comes from legitimately a good place. And when I have a lot of obviously old guy friends, and I'll send them like, yo, check out this episode. And then they're like, yeah, I every one of these guys takes, I love this record. Like, like you guys are proven to have a really good ear for this shit. And I think that despite the popularity of the shitty stuff, I still think good content will reign. It's just letting the people like the Framptons and the Finn McKinties run their course. And kind of like also like it's also like my job and everyone else's job to, hey, if you listen to a podcast and you have a podcast, you should tell people, yo, check this out, so other people check it out. Because you might ask some people, they might only think there's 3 or 4 hardcore podcasts, period.
Yeah, I think that in regards to not like slagging stuff, there's 2 things, right? Like, first of all, I just think that being like an edgelord or being dismissive of things is lazy. Like that's a big piece of it. But that doesn't necessarily mean that we like everything. In fact, like I probably don't like 90% of things. It's just I only, do 2 hours every other week, right? And like I really only do one timely podcast a month. So like I don't have that much time. And in my limited time, I'd rather talk about stuff I really like. Because like I think that part of being like a punk or hardcore lifer is like the curation. Our value is, first of all, knowing that we're not trendsetters anymore and we shouldn't try to be. Like hardcore has to be organic and the pace of it has to be set by the kids, and like the directions it goes in has to be set by the kids. Like it's a youth movement and will always be a youth movement and should always be a youth movement. And we shouldn't like stand in the way of that. But I do think that we can be like a rudder on the boat, and like we can curate what we think has merit and what is timeless and what people should care about. And I think that I spend a lot of time doing that. When I listen to newer music, I look for that. Like, I think what is going to stand the test of time? We can like see right through so much shit and know that it's like a flash in the pan or whatever. But like, what is like legitimately good? That's like, it should be put on a pedestal. I want to circle back to a couple of things, Joe. First of all,
I actually wanted to.
Go ahead.
We touch 1 second on the slam thing?
Yeah.
So, precursor. I was a young child, like 10, 11, 12, and I was in the early death metal scene here because of the older friends that I had. And none of the things that popped up as slam would ever even be recognizable or even associated. And I've always found that what happens in these quasi little pocket universes is that, and especially with the kids who are adding like the hard dancing to these kind of things, it was like whether it's the East Coast, New Jersey, some Long Island kids who were, their bands couldn't play hardcore shows, so they were doing this stuff. But what happens is there's entire people who try to outdo someone, be like, oh, well, what about this band? Yeah, I'm only into these kind of bands because they're this kind of weird 12 bands over here. And this shit isn't good. It's not. And I understand that there's a lot of bands that I've played with Shattered Realm and stuff who love that shit, and that God bless you if you do. But I think that when it comes to that kind of stuff, we're seeing it in different little pockets with hardcore in the modern terms, but it's like not just limited to death metal. Like there's the kids who now want to dress exactly like the 90s and they try to recreate something, but because they weren't there, it's in the Civil War thing, they call it a farb, meaning like far be it from the actual thing. It's a super funny thing. But obviously we live close to Gettysburg and I got friends that are Civil War people. But like you can't be the genuine article. But now there's the kids, you see it. Like the hot topic for discussion over the weekend was the young band who were all nice kids and they covered some kind of like 2000s jam. And everyone's like, this is what I'm talking about. This is the kind of energy we want at hardcore. And it's like, yeah, because if you were there at the time, we were actually those kind of dudes, if they showed up at the mixed bills, were shirtless. A lot of them were complete fucking actual jocks, like not the metaphorical jock, but like actually dickhead jocks, and we always fought them. The same thing with the video of the frat people on the Twitter. There was like, it's okay if they come. It's like, no, like, sure, I guess so in theory, but like in, decades of practice, people like that don't mix with our culture. But because you're from the internet and you're 19 years old, you think that this is acceptable. And I think that you got to let them play with it. And it's kind of like, all right, well, the ball's in your court. If you go to some bro concert to watch one of these bands, I know you're not ninja moshing nobody. So stop trying to add this to the equation of things that we need to start to accept in hardcore, because it's not in practice.
The frat thing was like quaint though, right? Like they showed up, they acted right. If they would have acted out of school, then it's like a different thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But the proxy fallout is what it's like. We go from, hey, here's a bunch of guys and you're checking out a band. Like, backstory, the small venue we did for many years next to the Electric Factory just happened to have, it's a giant building with tons of studios. So, Little Uzi Vert showed up for one of our shows. I don't know who this motherfucker is. And I was like, what's up? And he's like, I just wanted to check this shit out. Can me and my people come in? I'm like, I was like, yeah, are you like a rapper or something? And he's like, they're like, yeah, you don't know. And I'm like, no, I don't know anything about this shit. This is what I do. They came in, they watched it. Then he would pop in for some of these metalcore shows and kids would take pictures. But they never really broke the surface plane to like invade our space. They were just checking it out. And that's kind of like what the frat people were doing. But then the semantics on the internet was like, I don't know why anybody can't be accepted. It's like, yeah, I guess you guys really are waiting to, like, stick your hand over an open fire and argue that the flame's not that hot. There's reasons why, contextually and culturally, why those kind of folks at times made shit hard. And then like the reverse is, oh yeah, all through the early 90s, actually late 80s, early 90s, all the straight edge bands were constantly getting ragged for being frat-ish with the varsity letters and wearing the Nike sneakers and, not having combat boots on and having different kind of haircuts. And this is all kind of like stuff that gets lost in the sauce.
100%, and also like going to like the Epiphat shows in the 90s here in Southern California, like a lot of those pits were gnarly as hell just because it was like popular music and like fucking regular ass Joes want to go and beat the shit out of each other to like what they think is punk. You know what I mean? Like, it is what it is.
Those bands would come here. I mean, I'm, like whatever you want to say about the modern ideal and like what punk rock is or like ska is and all this shit, dude, them Pennywise tours that they came through, dangerous, straight dangerous. Before the Warped Tour, when they were playing the clubs, Pennywise shit was dangerous. And there's a ton of bands you can add to it that you would never think has a danger element where like, because modern hardcore is unfortunately because of people like my dumbass and my dumbass bands made the spin kicking stuff kind of more popular. In those every man for himself circle, swirl of people pushing, and it's not just like 5 kids kicking hard and everyone knows them so they don't punch them. Like, you get torn the fuck up. And that was a lot of my earlier shows. Like, there's that band Screw 32, and they had a wild pit for one of the major sold out Bounce and Soul shows of the Truck when the truck still had stage diving. And I was like, how do I get my neck all? I'm gonna do like, how like, you had crank neck. Someone shoved me hard as shit during Screw 32. I'm like, at this band? But you just, these kids won't get it,
No, I mean, one time I saw Face to Face at Ventura Theater and like 70% of the pit was Hell's Angels. You know what I mean? It's like, what the fuck is going on? It's Face to Face. You know what I mean?
Dude, another band that used to come up and play Philly, and it was wild. It was like, like aggressive, like real deal punks. I mean, you'd see people from, let's say, like some of the other Philadelphia like punk bands like tell people like, hey, watch out for everybody. But like, Bouncing Souls were crazy shows. Like, I mean, there's a lot of shows that you wouldn't think were crazy, but like, like, I mean, there was a SNFU and the Bounce and Soul show. We got beat up outside by older dudes because like hey, I mean, it's just weird to see that some of it get lost, and I understand why it would get lost. But I still hold I try to just not delve into the. I don't want to achieve an argument, so I lurk and I look, and I might send it to a friend and go, "This is retarded," or in a sense, we're asking someone because someone was like, "They would have got dealt with," and I'm like, "2024 dealt with," or like legitimately actually dealt with, you know?
Yeah. I see a little bit of mosh commentary online, and I don't fuck with it either. But like, it's funny to me when people are like shit talking, push pitting, and I'm gonna be the one, dude. I'm gonna white knight for the push pit, dude. So get ready. Like, I think it's like good, clean fun. You know what I mean? And like, new kids come in and they don't exactly know what they're doing, and they want to get buck. Like, I kind of believe in the spirit of it. You know what I mean? Like, people that shit talk it are like, oh, dude, they should be spin kicking or whatever. I'm like, okay, for a brand new kid that just discovered hardcore, I would much rather have them come in and get fucking wild and just go crazy than be on some straight up like choreographed, I practiced in my room bullshit. Like, that is so much more pure to me.
I'm gonna take it one step further. If you ask me if I had a magic wand, probably the thing I would take away from hardcore modern wise, in the sense of like how the group connects. I think we've gotten way past where it was supposed to be. And I got fucking paid to fly out and be in the AFI video kicking people. You know, I am not hypocritical. I understand the balance of it. The modern day hardcore pit is a social thing. It's not everybody gets to play because some people can take liberties that other people can't. There are times we try to limit the punching down, and we have a really big deal with peer to peer people like Zach, who's now in Sun and Demise. And a lot of the guys who, aren't just like me and Bob know that if you see something, do something, regulate it before it turns into an all out thing. But the best example that I've seen recently is we did this Paint of Truth show just last week, and we had some heavy bands. And the minute we had Regulate, kids' eyes lit up. Kids who weren't in the pit for that, they were going crazy. And then Haywire jumped up and played just a couple songs right after before Paint of Truth. And yes, Paint of Truth had all the fucking sing-alongs. People were moshing hard. But I saw people who couldn't be in the pit get really active. And I feel like we lost the connectivity with a lot of these younger kids because they're worried about getting spin kicked in the fucking head and breaking their jaw. Or they're $120 and everybody else is working out to be in the pit. I don't think it's as safe as we tell ourselves. And as a young kid, I just happened to get there at a perfect time in Philadelphia where it wasn't prevalent, but there was definitely that kind of thing, but it was more of a prototype of it. And it wasn't until we started going to New Jersey and New York, and then we brought it back to Philadelphia hard. And, we got smacked, and we got, it was a rough and tumble. And then we had to learn, like, don't do that shit over near the old heads because they're going to fucking smack you. Like, it was a real deal thing. So I advocate for I don't really like the circle pit, and I have my reason. It's not just culturally, it's silly looking because that's not it. I actually know that the same thing, like I've seen young kids get into a massive circle pit and they get like whirlpooled. Next thing you know, they're on the ground and someone steps all over them, which is not so much better then. But I mean, tomorrow, if it was, every show is going to be awesome, but the ninja kicking's at a minimal. You wouldn't hear a single complaint out of me.
It's just funny that like for our whole time in hardcore, it's been singers yelling to open this pit up, And like now that the pit has been fully opened up, are we really happy? You know what I mean? Like, because you see some of these photos of shows and it's like, this is fucking hilarious, dude. It is so open and it's just kids against the wall. And the shame of it is sharing the mic is like the greatest thing in hardcore. In fact, I would say that it's probably the most hardcore thing is like a piece of our genre of music and culture more than anything else. You know what I mean? Like it's a thing that, like bigger punk bands, like they do like the mic in the air thing, but there's no like immediate connection of I am actually going to put the mic that I was singing on right now onto your fucking mouth and you're going to sing the words that you know. it's so intimate. The pylons and the coming up front and the you doing stage dive, but then also being up front and taking your lumps. Because like if you're gonna be a dude diving, and I've always been a bigger dude and I've always loved stage diving. You know, I haven't done it in a few years, but like I'll fucking dive like a motherfucker, dude. And I know it's not fun to get jumped on by me, right? So like for every dive I'm doing, I'm taking 20 on the head. You know what I mean? Like you gotta pay your dues up front and do it, but like that packing up and singing along, like that is hardcore, dude. When that's lost, like then a big piece of the culture is lost.
Absolutely, without a doubt. It's the last linchpin before, you know, we really don't resemble anything from the past. And like the beauty of hardcore is that, I mean, and I don't have to tell you because, you know, you come from the same school that we did, in the sense of like you're watching videos from the late 80s all through the 90s where the minute a band erupts and the mic is for anyone who could take it. And that's just not what the rock star mentality is. The rock star mentality is, hey, get this guy from stopping. Don't let him stop me from singing my part. And hey, this kid knocked out your guitar. Yeah, it sucks, but he just dove and did a cool stage dive. I think the culture, and again, this is hardcore, and the things that we've done have done nothing to completely support it nor like go against it. But I definitely, because of the stuff, I look at it and I miss the This Is Hardcore, where we had a lot more fast bands and the kids were stage diving more and they were singing along more. And there wasn't some kid karate kicking somebody in the face at like foot level. I like the participation. And I think, to your point with like I can't tell you how many Shattered Realm, Punishment, Dysphoria, Freight Train shows was everybody against the wall because of people like me and my friends being dickheads and no one wanted to get kicked. And yeah, that was like a thing. And it honestly, like 20 something years later, like that's the one thing I wish we had someone who was willing to say like, hey, have fun, but don't take it to this level, because we are at the point where like a show could be so much more fun if everybody was up front and everybody was singing all the words. And I honestly, like, one of the bands for me that really got me to sing along was not just Bounce of Souls and Vision, but like the first time I saw Killing Time, I saw like my dudes, like the guys I looked up to in hardcore, taking the mic and someone's jumping on them and someone's jumping on them. And it looked so fun because no one was mad. Everyone was smiling and everybody knew the words. And honestly, that was a bigger impetus to read the lyrics, was to be like, I want to take the mic. I want to, like, I want to be in that, like that dog pile. And it's so iconic. I mean, when you think about like just shit that like would be iconic, Tommy Carroll, when he does the one-time reunion and that YouTube video from the CBGB's benefit, he was dodging everybody who wanted to take the mic. And you could eventually see he got tired and people were wrangling on him to take the mic. But how cool is that? Like, like he was kind of playing like, like kill the man with the football, just with the mic. And you'd see him, he's making all these moves and people are grabbing him, but he's dodging them. And then finally the crowd got him. They're like, we got the mic. Like that shit is so much cooler than 5 dudes who, I mean, I'm back to the 220s now, Zach. So I'm not quite there, but like, 5 dudes who are like 220 pounds kicking at 19-year-olds. I'll take taking the fucking mic all the fucking time, man. Like that. The problem is what are these kids saying that's even more like the lyrics? Not that I was ever the greatest lyricist of all time by any stretch, and not with the Shattered Realm shit, but like legitimately, like what are these kids saying that's like that big of a deal? Because I'm not seeing it except for the most popular bands that get it. Like, and they, it's just weird what crowd follows that thing,
Yeah, I think that like you look at those CB's videos, right, that go from like the late 80s and then even like into like the Madballs and the 25 to Lifes and stuff, like those packed shows, like there's just a million dudes on stage and a million dudes go for the mic. Like that's apex hardcore, dude. That's like where it's at. Like, I don't know if I need anything beyond that. You know what I'm saying? I want to touch on a couple things that we touched and kind of blew past with like the alt hardcore bands. I'm not trying to be dismissive of these. Like I'm just not that into like indie type rock or like alternative music, but I know that people love them and like these are really good bands. And Joe, you liked a lot of like the 90s like all hardcore type stuff. Like you love Quicksand and those type of bands, don't you? Like it, I don't know if this stuff is so different than that. Like because you like
it is absolutely different. It's absolutely different.
How do you think?
So like you're walking in the hallway, and you got to remember is like I came from like legit metal before I ever was like found hardcore, and it was like Radiohead shirt, Soundgarden shirt, Alice in Chains shirt, Nirvana shirt, and I was aware of these things because they were part of the culture at the time, but I was never a fan. And then, like, I was getting kicked out of class for an Overkill shirt that had a finger that said, "We don't care what you say," or some satanic metal shirt that I got. And my mom would be like, "Please don't wear that to school." Or, like, you know, like I was really into those kind of shirts that are just like fucked up, you know, like we're at a point where constantly I'm wearing a shirt inside out. That was the caveat. Like, once I got caught, I just gave up and just wore it inside out just to make my point to kind of be like the aggressor. But as those bands were validated to not be like, it was perceived by me and projected by people who were older than I, like, no, man, like these are the bands that are really doing this. Like those are the bands that already made it. This is like our kind of bands. And, you know, I got told like, you know, because I was like, what's up with this? Like, you know, I would ask questions because it's a really important thing for me whenever I get involved in something, like constantly like searching and trying to read. And I would ask dudes like, what's up with Quicksand? That's the guy from Gorilla Biscuits. Wait, what do you mean? The guy from Gorilla Biscuits is in this? Then it was like, oh, all right, cool. Like, you know, like, and there was no talk about selling out. There was no disparaging remarks like, oh, he's like, no, they're just going to do this. And he's trying something different. And like, it was really all positive. It was really supportive. And that stuff was really big around here. And so like, it was exciting to wear a Quicksand shirt to counter like, oh, you don't know who Quicksand is, motherfucker? Yeah. What's up? You know, like I you know, like that first Warped Tour was full of bands like that. And I remember the following year, because it was during summer and I was on the soccer team and I was back in my local neighborhood after the first year of high school didn't really work out well for me. And I was hip to the shit that like these younger folks weren't really hip to. Like it was like in its own right, it was an underground against the popular underground stuff. You know, it was like, you know, like there's a couple bands from that time period, and I'm not the world's biggest Deftone fans, but I've seen them a lot of times when they were very small. My entire neighborhood, before we would even have the balls to call ourselves hardcore kids, like I still had like middle of my back long hair when I seen Korn play with Cypress Hill and House of Pains. But then we saw them again at a small venue in South Street, Philadelphia, with like Sugar Ray and Lords of Brooklyn. And so like our guys, and dude, some of our guys are in like a punk band called US Expulsion, and they were screaming at Lords of Brooklyn. They're all like 14-year-old kids going, "We didn't pay to see rap," and it turned into like an almost brawl in the venue. And it's like a group of our friends, and we're all from fucking high school. And you know, like we end up with Korn shirts. And to this day, like my daughter popped it up the other day. You had an old school Korn shirt? I'm like, yeah, when we were kids, we didn't really discern things that were like in small clubs as being anything more like on the same platform. But when I look at these fucking bands that you're talking about, they're just pussies in a sense. Like go get on a major. Go do a fucking bar band thing. Go ahead and fucking sell 25 tickets to your fucking 25 friends. Stop projecting yourself as a fucking hardcore band or indie rock band because you're waiting for the majors, you're waiting for the manager, you're waiting for the agent, and you're taking the place of a band who belongs here so you can go and shuck your nonsense. That's my first immediate reaction, because there's so many fucking outlets now that these bands don't have to play the fucking hardcore shows. And I don't care what stupid hardcore band they were in, and I don't care that they really care, because they fucking don't. And it's all just a way to step up the ladder quicker than being what they are. And every band in the modern hardcore is doing this bullshit, whether it's the death metal dudes doing it, the hardcore bands doing it. It's a numbers game. If I do this show and I open this show, then I'm going to be able to, then we eventually get the headliners. And once we headline clubs at about 600, then we can open for bands. And they know the system so well. It's a gaming of the system. Dude, you know who didn't do that? Fucking Title Fight. They're all young kids. And they fucking shredded it. And organically, they became that fucking band. And there's a tons of bands like that organically just fucking grew. And there's bands that don't grow. So now my new litmus isn't fuck all of this stuff. It's, well, I don't really give a fuck about it unless it really hits. And a lot of this stuff doesn't hit because there's a million records that I still love from the late 80s into the 90s that sound like this shit. So like for it to really hit, it has to be something now because there's like, I'll just listen to the old record. But I just see too much of the games and shit. I see too many of the dudes already shacked up with a manager before their first record comes out. And it's just this is hardcore as a general is the easiest show to get on. It's why they fucking put all that goofy shit in the early 90s into it. It's why Cold Chamber was on some of the Victory Tour. It's why all this shit that when these idiots talk about new metal, oh, well, you know, back in the day, yeah, because there wasn't a new metal scene. It was 7 fucking bands at most. And just serendipitously, it worked out that Deftones ended up filling the spot as an opener for what was the Quicksand tour with Civ, that they would gonna go and do a little bit shit further. Now I know in California, I can't speak to whether Deftones was any bigger before they did those tours, but a lot of this stuff was serendipitous, and some of the bands were always gonna make it, and some of them bands weren't. But like for me, I just don't like the way that I get treated, and it's a very simple one. Dude, we love to play and be a part of it. You know, I know that we don't really sound hardcore, and then they'll give you some speech about how much this shit means to them. And in like 5 years, they've got like a 10, you know, like a fucking 5 figure guarantee, but they're not even filling the room. And it's just not worth it. You know, so like it's got to be organic, and I got to actually either give a fuck about the person and believe they're not shenanigans. But a lot of these people that pop up, and I don't know who the fuck they are, and I don't really care about their former band or don't even know if they have a former band, but they pop up with some fake nonsense I don't give a fuck about. Sorry.
That's all good. I think that those 3 bands that are mentioned are like, they pretty organically came up, Joe, and they're like good at what they do. And I think that you're more connected to it now. So like you feel some sort of way about it compared to when you're like a teen.
Oh, if I was 16 or 17, I wouldn't even have the base to know what was there before.
But
that's primarily what it is.
But all those 90s bands were chasing fame. I'd say even more than like
all you have to do is buy Dan Ozzi's book Sellout, and you'll understand that they ran out of Black Crowes bands, and they ran out of Anthraxes, and they ran out of fucking Stripers. And here is this amalgamation that, you know, owed to the people that do not get the credit, owed to the long view of SST Records to not just like focus on directly hardcore punk, but establish stuff within the college radio scenes of the late 80s. That like really blew in the 90s. Like whatever you want to say about Ginn, the dude knew ahead of time what was going to get bigger, or was checking it out when it was at like the very baseline. And so he planted deep seeds that finally grew up the harvest, you know? And so, yeah, like if I was now, I wouldn't have any of this kind of like background experience. But my perspective is, it's like, you know, we've got this new band, and you know, we want to just do this. And instead of being like, hey, can we play your show? We're trying to make our band big. Cool. You know, when bands do that, I don't care. It's the nonsense. Don't tell me how much you care about hardcore. Don't tell me all this other shit. Like, because I want my friends to succeed. You know, like I want Scott Vogel to never have to have a job. Siv's a great tattooer, so he doesn't really need to be Siv. But I want the people who are great at hardcore and great at punk rock to be able to be actual artists and be free of the stuff that keeps artists from being able to be mobile and create music against a slew of really bad music that exists, because the bad music still exists at a far higher volume than even these bands. It's the shenanigans of the heartfelt, nonsense dedication shit, because when people play different kinds of music, they understand there's an upward mobility that isn't present for a hardcore band. So you don't have to tell me that. I'm a fucking adult. Oh, cool. Your band sounds like this. Cool. If it fits, it fits. It's just a shenanigans.
Yeah, we can agree that Vogel should never have to work again. You know what I mean?
Listen, that's like Jimmy G, who, he's an old man, still goes to work with knobby bones from Broken Bones, because that's like the weird lifestyle that the dude like is into. But again, and I know someone listening like, damn, Joe really went off there, but like there's just too many bands that get dapped up. Like, oh, well, he's from hardcore. Is he though? How many motherfuckers are from hardcore these days? Like how many whack motherfuckers get capped up because they were in a one janky ass band, and like why do we got to pay the rent for them?
Yeah, that's the thing. Like a lot of new kids discovered hardcore during COVID and like came into it. Like there's that influx of young kids, but also like when you go see some of the national acts, especially when I go, like if I go to see Terror at a bar, you know what I mean? Like, and there'll be 500 people there. There's not a lot of young people. In fact, like it's a lot of people my age. And I'm like, who are these people? You know what I mean? Like I've never seen them before. I think that there's a lot of hardcore being so big right now that like, some people that dabbled 20 years ago, like it being so popular, they want to like tell their kids like, hey, I did something cool 20 years ago. And like, they're popping back in too. Like there's a lot of that.
Dude, I have so many amazing friends who are such better fathers than I ever was. And they just pop back up exactly like, so like, dude, I want you to meet my son. I told him so much about, like, there's a kid who's from like right where we do the shows in Keystone Jam, Reading, Pennsylvania. Mm-hmm. His father and I traded tapes, and I met him when I was 14 or 15 years old. He was in a local Pennsylvania hardcore band. And one day this kid's at one of our small shows, like maybe 35, 40 people at the record store before COVID happened. And I'm like, yo, where the fuck did you get that shirt from? And I was like, yo, that's my dad's band. I'm like, yo, are you serious? And he's like, yeah. I'm like, yo, we got to get a picture together. Send this to your dad. Like I just randomly ran into my friend's son, who was only like 15 or 16, wearing his dad's shirt. And it's like a full circle thing. And I love seeing the younger kids whose parents had you see it now in like the Discontents and the Reaching Outs, and now Beto's sons in fucking Demise. It's so crazy. But like to see our culture passed on firsthand, that's what I value. Yeah. That's when it's like, oh, this is great. And that's the converging point. Like I want every band to succeed, but the problem is like, again, like I've seen bands pop up and get the early spot on a big show because they're going to get bigger. Few, if any, there are some, we'll say few, we won't say no one. So I'll have to remember that time, but like few, if any of these bands have an opinion that like once they get bigger, they're always going to do this. No, in fact, what they do is they wait for they do it around Christmas time, or they come up with their own tour week. Like this is our celebration weekend. And then they add older bands and be like, see, we're still dialed in, and it's fake. And that's what I just don't like. I like, there's amazing songwriters in some of these bands. And in fact, like, I was listening to the New Lights Questions. Ridge is an interesting player, like guitar riff wise and all, song structures, chords, all that, like the harmonies he does. I think he could be in a better, bigger band, but I love that he still does Painted Truth and Lights Questions and all the other shit that he does because he really enjoys hardcore. But if that guy got a job being in a band, like let's say like a Quicksandish band, I wouldn't berate him. I'd be trying to help this guy because I know how creative he is and I know how dedicated he was to hardcore. But there's guys you don't know and they just pop up, and the only thing they told us, oh well, he was in a hardcore band, and you Google it, and no, they were like on the band where everybody puts their foot on the box and they headbang. That's their hardcore band. It's like, that's not a hardcore band,
right? Joe, let's wrap on This Is Hardcore. So this year, like the lineup is pretty bananas. Right? Like a mix of old and new. Two things. So what's your goal when you're putting together a lineup? And then also you were talking about you'd like to mix more of the fast stuff. I like a band from Philly a lot, the Kinetic Orbital Strike band. Do you ever think about like mixing in some of like that, I don't know, like the more raw punk, like the D beat, like the crustier stuff at all?
In Philadelphia specifically, and I'm fucking crazy with this one, and people will be bummed on this answer, but it's an honest one. There was a group of bands that started in like 2013, 14, and they started putting like PHL on their Instagram handle, and almost none of them were like connected to like our part of the like me and Bob's part of the hardcore scene, which is funny because it's like back in the day when I was booking 25 to Life, they were like, oh, that's like Joe Hardcore. And even with all the things that we've done and all the crazy shows we put on for all the different punk and hardcore and bands, people still look at like our world as like not dialed into like they always try to come out of nowhere from college, move into some kid with a basement, and they do like we're the true DIY.
Right.
And I get it. It's like, my longer point about this is like, tomorrow, if you told me, you still get Negative Approach, you still get to throw in All Out War from time to time, Wisdom and Chains still gets to play, and you have a more organic and true to what real hardcore sounds like, I would do in a second. And the issue that comes to it is a lot of these bands that you're talking about, they either immediately don't want anything to do with like me or, like maybe me and Bob, like they're not into it. But like, I mean, dude, the last This Is Hardcore bands of the first venue was From Ashes Rise into fucking Madball. No one's done that.
So
no one
sick.
sees the connectivity that we're all still into this. As much as I went on my little tirade about that other stuff, I mean when I say like this is all connected interchangeably when it's organic and it's real people from our community, and it's why you can have a band like a Starkweather and also have a band like a Lifetime all in the same community within an hour circle of each other in the 90s. It was plausible. But what happens is I don't think it's as possible. I want to start with a 1-day non-fest, maybe $20 top show if we get a decent band who wants to play last, and only have fast bands. I see it coming back in a big way because I think everyone's tired of the graffiti logo, which is bad business for Shattered Realm, obviously, but we'll move on. We'll become the slam band, I guess, or something. I don't know. But like the future of hardcore is not in these bands that are going to consistently end up on giant barricade stages. And it's not in the bands that are heavy as fuck. And then their goal is to open up for whoever, a band who I don't know what band would be bigger than a Knock Loose, but that would be like, well, one day we're going to open for the band that's bigger than Knock Loose. And it's like, if those are your ideas, we're not really they're completely different than mine. And it's just harder to pull together because, there are communities like the Richmond scene had a pretty decent scene with that, but then some of their bands kind of went away. And then when Ace and them guys stopped booking it, it changed. Like there's a lot of elements that would have to be in place. But like when I booked This Is Hardcore, especially this year, now granted, I'm going to tell you, the lineup that I announced, if you look at it, it's alphabetical. Sure. It is weak sauce if you're reading it alphabetically. There's no context at all to what's actually going down. And we're going to change that. We have to add a band. Because now their tour moved through Philadelphia. So we're able to officially bring them to pass. And in June, we're going to pop like the actual what the lineup is in order. Now, 2 parts to this. It's easier to alphabetize a lineup when everybody's manager and booking agent will actually argue and fight and even take less money to be higher than someone else. And they'll make it hard for me to have a bill. So what I do is I put the 3 logos on the flyer, and then I put everybody in alphabetical order with one font, so I don't get 28 emails. Let's use this logo instead. And why did you guys color it? And it's too much outside interference with just trying to announce the band's playing. So we went that way. And I feel like I'm disserviced people that understand like what the actual flow of the bands is. Now, to your point about what I was doing this year is to remain, I still want to be This Is Hardcore. I still want to do what I do, but at the same time, is like our goal when we do this, because Bob Wilson and Greg sit in every little step and criticize and make it happen, is today we have people who listen to slam music who will pay money to see a couple hardcore bands, And maybe if they got a little bit further down the wormhole into like what real hardcore is, they might become a believer. So Friday night is a small venue, 650 cap, Underground Arts. It's easy to fill the room, and we wanted to do something that kind of always connects. And that's been the last couple of years. We work on something that's cool, a good headliner. We keep it, like we've had some really good running headliners at that venue, and it's always been awesome. We had Vane 1 year, 2 years back. We had Earth Crisis played an insane set, and then Integrity pulled a Hold My Beer moment last year on the Friday. Like, okay, cool. Now here's what we're going to do. And it was like one of the best back-to-back sets we've ever had in any of the fest. It was awesome. But so this year, E-Town's doing a lot, and they're doing a lot around here, and they're really important to us here. So we offered them, hey, you want to play the smaller room? And since Ant just comes and hangs out sometimes, he was like, oh, yeah, I've been to that room. Yeah, yo, bet. Like, that'd be fucking great. We'd love to play. It's got no barricade. He was way into it, so we made it happen. But then when we get to Saturday, that's the young asshole day. That's where all the young kids are going to come, and they're going to kick each other for a couple hours. And we just got to understand that's what it's going to be. I literally even say, like, all right, this is actually just like the straight up young asshole day. And I tried to balance it earlier, and I was saying to Bob, I'm like, dude, this Saturday is really fucking ignorant, man. Like, this Saturday is really fucking ignorant. And it was kind of funny because, like, yeah, we want ignorant. We want kids to like it. But, like, again, like, it's almost too much. So I decided, like, halfway through the internet, the beginning stages is, like, I got to get an older band. And there was a minute where it was Exploited. Waddy has a lot of health issues. So we're lucky because right now he's taking off on shows till he knows where his heart condition is.
Yeah.
But, like, it's my job, if I have the opportunity and the resources and the stage to put a band like Exploited. I did it in 2015, and they had a great set. It was great. Exploited was a great closer, so we try to go that route just because they're one of the all-time greats. And we ended up serendipitously, to my happiness, truly, to have the first 4 years of Black Flag headlining the Sunday night, and then before that is 7 Seconds, and before that is Negative Approach. This is what hardcore actually is. This is what hardcore came from. This is where it sprouted from. These are the folks that pervade it and carried it on its back when people didn't want it in the room. And it was, that like joke, I was into punk when it was called Hey Beep, these guys did a lot. These guys did a lot for 40 something years. And I think that a younger kid who isn't afraid to be like, yeah, I actually never checked Black Flag out. I pray to God they get to see them, regardless if it's Valele on vocals. I don't actually know if that's how you say his name. That's the way I say it with the Philly mouth.
Yeah.
But like with all the bands, we always try to have these like little sequences, and again, I've been saying it for the last 4 weeks. The worst thing about announcing the fest alphabetically is that you miss the context of how the flow of the bands is. And so like Friday night, the last 3 bands is E-Town Concrete, Shadow Realm, and Morning Again. And, for here, John, I mean, all that stuff's going to be so awesome. We have a special guest that we're not allowed to announce. And the funny part is like, we're on Audible with a backup in case they decide they can't make it happen. But like the last 2 bands, and if let's say like it'll be Cold as Life headlining, obviously, but like we either have a special guest or it's Cold as Life 100 Demon Tsunami. It's like, what the fuck? Jesus. It's fun. The younger kids are there. Like, yeah, like the actual down to the bottom lineup is fucking fantastic. We always try to help the younger bands coming out, but also like I grew up in the world of the heavier stuff, like I spoke on earlier. So when my guys in Denied are like, yo, we're trying to do a show, not only just because of how much I love Little Greg, but like because of how much I understand like the younger kids are getting into those kind of bands, that I wanted to give them a spot. And I'm always going to do stuff like that. So some of it is serendipitous. Some of it is knowing that it's this younger band's time. They have to get on the bill, and yeah, we are going to bring up bands you may not ever heard of, like Shot Out. Why? Because they're from our neighborhood. They're going to play a lower spot, and then we're still bringing the old school flavor. And I mean, dude, there's so much cool shit in this, and I do love the lineup, but it's so underwhelming, alphabetized that like we're gonna make like 10 fucking flyers if we keep adding shit. So like the end of the week, we drop one of the special guests for Saturday. It's this weird thing, but yeah, my goal is ultimately to try to do the best I can to bring a lot of people into the room and service more than just what's most popular. But obviously, yeah, like we're going to have the Pain of Truth, we're going to have the Tsunamis, and then in 3 years, whatever the Pain of Truth and Tsunami is that year, we're going to try to get them because these younger kids want to do this stuff. And maybe in the influence of them being at this hardcore, they might see some old guy with like a cool shirt that you can't buy for $600 on the internet and get curious, you know?
Hell yeah. This is hardcorefest.com. Everyone handle business. This is hardcorefest.com. Joe, thanks for your time.
Dude, you're the man. Thank you so much. And again, anyone who doesn't listen to your podcast is fucking crazy. And I do think it should end up in the Washington National Archives. And obviously, hope to see you guys this summer.